This is Steve Downs, the voice of Master Chief, Sierra 117, and you're listening to Podcast Unlocked, the world's #1 Xbox podcast. Now, finish this fight. Master Chief, out.
Welcome, everybody, to the palindromatic episode 484 of Podcast Unlocked, IGN's weekly Xbox show. What's happening? I'm Ryan McCaffrey, joined as always by Miranda Sanchez.
Hi, hello. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Hello, hello. Brandon Tyrell over there.
Hello, hello, hello.
We were discussing our everybody's sort of quarantine look before we got on the air, and Brandon, I think everyone in the audience will agree. We all kind of came to the consensus. You've got that Batman Begins era Christian Bale, like, you know, while he's out studying with Liam Neeson. Like that's the cool rugged guy look you've got going on. I for one like it.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to falling in the bottom of a well and then having to scramble my way out before I eventually save the city. So
we need saving. So get to it. Come on. Let's all push you in the well. Let's go.
We'll try to speed this up.
And Cam Hawkins, good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you as well.
Are we going to get any puppy action on this one? You graced us before we started recording. Is she around?
I did, but like she started biting at my feet, and I was like, I can't have you biting at my feet during the recording. So I don't want to be a distraction there. So
leave those alone.
Maybe next time. We'll try and make it happen next week, where I'm just like, here she is, and then like my fiance will just take the dog away.
Well, I have a quick good news update on my dog, Daisy, who, as usual now, as soon as the shade comes down, she's like, I can't look out my window anymore. I'm out of here. So she doesn't hang out for the podcast anymore. But got good news at her cardiologist yesterday. Her heart's a little smaller, getting back down to closer to where it needs to be. And the fluid has moved out of her lungs. So
Yay.
that was
awesome.
that is some good news that I was very much hoping for. And that made me feel really good yesterday. So I know I've gotten so many kind tweets from listeners and fans of IGN that have been really nice and reached out. So I wanted to give that good news update. All right.
That's awesome.
Real quick PSA. Again, I said this at the top of the show last month, but we are moving YouTube channels. We're not moving far. It's going to be an IGN Games YouTube channel, which you'll be able to join here very soon. Because now, we're into March. So I believe, I don't want to put an exact date on this in case it changes, but the date I was told is coming up very soon. So as soon as it's official, I will let you know. But so the IGN Unlocked YouTube channel will still be there, but it won't be updated anymore, except if you are a subscriber there, if you look at the community tab, we'll put the updates there. But ultimately, we're hoping to get you to come over and subscribe to the new channel where all the games podcasts are going to live. NVC, Beyond, Unlocked, and Game Scoop. And we'll have an Unlocked playlist on there. If all you care about is Unlocked, that will take care of you in that way. So, we're just trying to kind of get everything more under one roof. Not unlike how for a long time we had the IGN Games audio podcast feed, where you'd subscribe to that and it would feed you all 4 of those main games podcasts. So stay tuned for that. We hope you'll help us grow a new channel, because all of you guys, we brag amongst ourselves that around IGN. You guys helped us become the biggest of the 4 main games YouTube channels. We're bigger than Unlocked, bigger than Beyond, rather, and bigger than NVC, and even bigger than Game
We're bigger
Scoop,
than ourselves.
Bigger than ourselves. Well, that's the goal. We're going to try and become bigger than ourselves on this new channel. So stay tuned for that. Want to start the show backwards this week, and there's a good reason for it. We want to celebrate Brandon Tyrell because he crushed all of you in the Unlock Block Trivia Challenge last year. And the reason that we want to start the show and celebrate that is because the trophy from last year has finally arrived, as Google once again signs me out of my notes in the middle of what I'm doing. I hate that. Here it comes back, because I need to make sure I give proper credit to our awesome listener, our awesome Unlocked listener who made this trophy. Again, if you're not familiar, the tradition is a listener just has volunteered every year to make a trophy for this year-long trivia challenge. And every year the trophy gets more and more amazing. Now, Brandon Tyrell, do you want to show it? Let's have the trophy presentation. Give your acceptance speech.
I do. Can I get a full screen? There it is.
Oh, there we go.
Or it was on top of
there
it.
It is.
Okay. Here we go. Here's the trophy.
It's so good. It's so good. Wow.
That's
it's
amazing.
So good.
Look at how
like
good this thing is.
Is that like the C3PO 360 controller, or is that like a custom-made controller?
I don't know.
I think it's all custom.
It's
okay.
It's definitely one of the shells that you can buy to put it on.
Okay.
You can see the lines on it.
It's an Xbox One controller. I'm stupid. I thought it was 360 controller for some reason, and it reminded me of the 3CPO one.
It's heavy, man. It's got some weight to it. Like
what's on the base there? What's on that plate on the base?
I don't think you're going to be able to see it. Maybe try.
Unlock.
Oh yeah.
Unlock Block Trivia Champion 2020.
2020. Yeah, that's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, but just look how clean that looks. I mean,
it's amazing.
Cool.
I think they used epoxy, but it's super clean. Bonus points, my dog absolutely loves it. She won't leave it alone. I've already had to clean the controller twice because her nose goop is all over it. But it's really cool. Thank you so much. I first and foremost, I need to thank Xbox, right? For years and years, just been my choice of console and my ecosystem and really my home. Shout out to my mom who bought me an Xbox when I was just a wee little babe. And, I've just really rode that wave of momentum all the way through. So this is just the beginning. Well, nowhere to go but up. Thank you again.
Brilliant. So the credit for this goes, for the trophy that is, Clive Cookson. Clive, amazing work. Clive had reached out to me early last year, pre-pandemic, and unfortunately, long story, it was kind of a hassle even getting it shipped because IGN's moving offices and the whole thing, but it has found its way finally to Brandon Tyrell, to its rightful owner. If you'd like to add Clive on Xbox Live, because he's clearly a cool guy that you'd want to play video games with, his gamer tag is Clivesaur. Cliveysaur.
That
as
is
in dinosaur. Clivesaur. So add him. Clive, thank you so much. You are upping the bar once again for the Unlock Block Trivia Trophy. And now we've got to get one going. I mean, guys, I don't know if there's even going to be one for 2021 because none of you will get a question right, except Miranda's 1 point.
Yay.
I'm only here for like another month, so like I have no stake in this race at all in general. So
well,
I do want to get some questions right.
Don't sell yourself short, Cam, because pretty soon Summer of Gaming is going to start. I'm going to have to take a back seat, and then we're going to need to fill a seat. So keep the momentum up.
I'm there.
Not only that, Cam, but no one's getting points. So if you just put a couple points on the board, it might sustain you through the whole year at this point.
I was going to say, Cam, you can still win this game.
It's
entirely
winnable.
possible you swoop in through November with like a 2-point, victory.
That's all it's going to take. All right, so let's
maybe.
While we're on the subject, let's go ahead. Again, we're starting this. If normally you don't listen to the whole show, well, now you're going to find out what you've been missing, which is the Unlock Block Trivia Challenge. Every week, an unlocked listener sends in a trivia question, which I select. I mean, I encourage everybody, email these in. unlocked@ign.com. Include your question, 4 multiple choice answers, and note the correct one in your email, and I may choose your question for a future episode. Nick, whose gamer tag is XX Laudicinia, if I've got that correct, with another double X on the end, asks the following: which first-person shooter on Xbox 360 featured an achievement titled "My Brother is an Italian Plumber"?
I know this one.
It is an achievement that is earned for killing an enemy by stomping on their head.
I know this one.
Nod to Mario here. Cam looks very excited.
I know this one.
I think Cam might know it.
I know this one. I'm
Sweet.
super excited.
Wow.
So again, which game?
I am 100% confident.
Which 360 game has the clear nod to Super Mario in the achievement titled "My Brother is an Italian Plumber" earned from stomping on an enemy's head and killing them? Is it Halo 3? Is it Bulletstorm? Is it Borderlands? Or is it Crysis 3? So I'm going to go to Cam last since he seems so confident, and I will go to Brandon Tyrell first.
Yay.
I gotta put my straight face on. So if one of you two get it right, I don't show. So
yeah, get that poker face ready. I
gotta
don't
get
need
that poker face.
I don't need a full screen for this board, but get out of here. What do you expect? This isn't going to be that interesting. I'm going to have to deduce here, but hopefully the statue will help me.
Channel the power of the statue.
Wow.
Of the power of the trophy.
I'm going to say it seems kind of irreverent. I'm going to go see Borderlands.
All right. Miranda?
B, Bulletstorm? B for bullets and storms?
All right. So, and then before I go to Cam, I would say for me, I didn't know this. I would narrow this to 2 based on the kind of that you mentioned, the irreverence. Like, for me, this would be between Bulletstorm and Borderlands.
Me too.
But I don't know what it is. But Cam, you do. Which is it?
The correct answer is C, Borderlands.
That is correct. So we've finally got some points on the board. We now have a 3-way tie. Let me update the scoreboard here,
back, baby.
Before we move on with the rest of the podcast. We've got Miranda with 1. We've got Brandon with 1. And we've got Cam with 1.
I was most unfamiliar with the mechanics of Bulletstorm and Borderlands, and they both seemed like, I know that they have a specific aesthetic. And I was like, well, it's probably one of those, right?
Yeah, no, Bulletstorm definitely like fits that description because you just basically execute people and kick people and stuff. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then Borderlands I played all of 2 hours of before I was like, this is not for me. And then
I hate Borderlands.
Tales from Borderlands, though, that's different. I like that one.
It kind of shook me up because I know the Halo series has always had like cool Easter eggs, and some of them are very funnily titled. Even the level design is titled, like holding a gun to the head of the universe from Halo CE is probably my favorite level name of all time. But yeah, we came through in the end. We did it, and the good news is everyone is now in first place. So I'm proud of you guys.
So again, keep those trivia questions coming. Unlocked at IGN.com. All right, let's get going with the news proper. Some of you out there are going, come on, let's go. What's going on this week? Talk about it. Let's do this. All right, we will. And the first item up for bids here on The Price is Right is Aliens Fireteam. Yes, a new Aliens for a third-person shooter, 3-player co-op PvE survival game. It takes place over a sort of Left 4 Dead-esque 4-campaign story arc. We've got if you're watching on video, the announcement trailer here. In short, I think if you like Left 4 Dead, or if you're looking forward to Back 4 Blood, which of course is itself Left 4 Dead, just without Left 4 Dead's name on it, even made by the same developers, this game is probably going to be for you. Miranda, you're a super fan of Dota. Did your Valve fandom extend to Left 4 Dead, and is this going to be too spooky for Miranda with the face huggers and the xenomorphs? Or are you going to get into this?
Though I miss the Left 4 Dead train mostly.
Oh.
Like I know. It's sad. I kind of bug people, but like, hey, can we play this? And sometimes we do actually go back and play old games. Anyway, this game is not for me. Although you do have power to shoot the xenomorphs, which is great. I personally have a big problem with the aliens. Just very scary, guys.
No.
These are so. I usually don't mind if I can shoot the aliens or befriend them or whatever it may be, marry them. Sure, I'm down for it usually, but with xenomorphs specifically, they're just they're so creepy. I like things with tails generally. I do not like these ones. So I don't think this is something I want to spend my time with because I'm sure they will find a way to make it spooky at some points.
It's a 3-player game, so let's see.Maybe Brandon, Cam, and I can play.
Yes,
Miranda's
there you
out.
go.
Cam, are the facehuggers too spidery for you?
No, I think that's fine. That's fine. I haven't seen anything. Yeah, no issues
good
there. I don't think. Yeah.
Excellent.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to this looks interesting for sure. You kind of said it's just like kind of like Back 4 Blood, which, I played the alpha back on PC a few months ago, and I was like super impressed by that. Like I was just like, this game's coming out in June, and this already feels like this is almost ready to go. Like
Back 4 Blood, you're talking about.
Back 4 Blood, I'm talking about. Yes. So I am really looking forward to definitely hopping in on that. But like, if you and Brandon want to hop in on Alien Fireteams, like I'm down to give it a shot. I'm a little bit hesitant on like how things are going to turn out with that, just because like previous Alien games, like granted different developers and things like that, but it's just kind of one of those things where like, oh, Colonial Marines was a disaster, and then like Isolation, like originally kind of, you know, was very divisive, and like throughout time has gotten more of a praise. I feel like that this is kind of like, we'll see, you know.
Yeah. So Cold Iron Studios is the developer here. They're based not far down in San Jose. And the game is due out in the summer. It's coming out on PC, of course, but also, yes, Xbox One and Xbox Series X. So this is going to be something fun to throw at your new Xbox in the summer. Brandon Tyrell, are you in on this with me?
Yeah. Looks fun. I'm a fan of like swarm shooters, I guess you could call them. You know, horde gameplay kind of stuff. I think the Alien brand works better when it's spookier. And I know I sound like a hypocrite because I don't like spooky games, but I think the Alien brand works best when like you don't see it coming, right? I think it's better in an Alien Isolation than it is in a Colonial Marines. But having said that, you know, Aliens I personally enjoyed more than Alien. So I'm hopeful that this is really cool. I would love to see some like nods to like the original characters and all that. And for context, I haven't actually had time this morning to digest all the news, so I don't know exactly what's in this game, but it's definitely something I'm interested in.
Well, it's an Aliens game, so it digests you.
Hey.
Have you guys seen the Xenomorph in Fortnite?
No.
I've seen it, yeah. But
that's like Geiger would be rolling over in his grave, I would think. I don't know if HR is still alive or not. But
so I think that's the one time where I found the Xenomorph not intimidating when it was doing all the dance. Someone would just posted a real bunch of dances, and I was like, all right, I could be okay with this.
Yeah, Xenomorph flossing is not necessarily fear-inducing.
The reaction I've been seeing on my feed from Aliens Fireteam so far has been really positive. People seem like excited in this kind of Aliens game, and I'm very happy to say this is going to be our IGN first game for March. So the announcement that went out wide today, obviously happened today, is Tuesday when we record. Thursday, our exclusive coverage kicks off. I got to play this, so I will show it to you in a long form gameplay video on Thursday, and then we'll have a lot more coverage as March rolls along. So stay tuned for that. Next month, next up, I should say, is our friend of the podcast and Xbox's marketing boss, Aaron Greenberg, has responded to whispers of an Xbox event this month. We had a Nintendo Direct, then we had a Sony State of Play. So is Microsoft going to do anything? Well, DualShockers, Cam, your former home over there, your friends at DualShockers seem to think so. And Aaron Greenberg took to Twitter to lower expectations a little bit. He tweeted, "Just to set expectations, this," meaning the event, "is not happening. There are always things we have in the works, but nothing coming soon that would feature game announcements or world premieres like this." So do you guys believe him at this point? What do you say? Let me go Cam's way first.
I think he's telling the truth, you know, like with how people reacted to the Nintendo Direct last week or 2 weeks ago, and Sony State of Play. I feel like Microsoft now is in this position where they can be like, just fully transparent. Don't get super excited for things that aren't happening, especially for such an anticipated game like Elden Ring. Like,
that's what you're not going to respond to.
You're not gonna want to say like, hey, this, you don't want to see that coming up and say nothing, because then people are going to like, oh, it's true, it's happening, and then nothing happens, and they're like, and then they get mad at Microsoft. So this is definitely the right call. I'm glad he said something, because that could have ended up being very problematic.
Or Miranda, is he just being smart and downplaying everything so that it is going to happen, and then we'll all be happy and not disappointed?
I think this was specifically maybe just Elden Ring, and because he did double down specifically on world premieres and game reveals, like announcements. So I think Maybe there could still be a small event. I mean, honestly, we're 3 months out from June, so and I anticipate that they'll probably do something around the E3 timing, just like last year.
Yeah.
And just like I think everyone else is probably going to have that as well, just to kind of keep that normal cadence of like summer excitement. And I think that's always great to have. So if that is still going to happen, I could see them maybe making some sort of small update video, sort of in line with Nintendo and Sony. It's time. As much as I would love to see some more of Elden Ring, and I know there's a small faction of the internet out there that's just like ravenous for anything with Elden Ring. I don't know. Sometimes I check in on their forums. I'm like, oh, you poor sweeties, hang in there. I don't know. It's really sweet to see how much they dig for Elden Ring. But thankful, just glad that they confirmed like this is not it. Please don't. Please stop.
Yeah. Brandon, how did we get here with Elden Ring? A game that's, I'm not saying it's not, the hype's not justified, but like it's kind of what? It was announced, and I think we've literally not seen anything but an announcement trailer. It's just From Software plus George R.R. Martin, and it's ravenous, the anticipation for this.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at the community, right? And I'm part of that community. I love Soulsborne games. Reviewed probably the lion's share of them for IGN, and there's something about them when it comes to the lore and the storytelling. It's very, I think it's even born out of the, no pun intended, I think it's even born out of the game design, right? Where everything is so cryptic and everything is so hidden from plain view that you're searching for it, that it has created this culture of like over analysis and digging and hunting for information. To the point where it is now at a fever pitch with Elden Ring, because kudos to Bandai. They did take a page out of Sony's playbook, which is announce the game several years before you're going to see it, and sort of let the audience dictate the hype. So we're at a point now where it's critical mass, I think. I would be surprised if we don't hear more news from them this year, specific or in general, but specifically in the sort of summer timeframe. There are reports coming out that it's been delayed due to working from home conditions and some other things like that is just part of development as well. And clearly there are leaks here and there, but I think it's it may sound silly considering look, every time that we plan an event or every time we put a show on, I always see the comments, Elden Ring better be on this. So they're ready. They're willing. Every opportunity for a game to be revealed or announced, the Elden Ring community like holds a little bit of hope, and I feel for them. But I don't think that you're going to see it shoehorned into somebody else's showcase. I think that it is going to be a prominent feature of either a first party or maybe Bandai does their own thing, as we've seen with Ubisoft Forward and Square and EA.
Well, it's already doing. It's got the marketing alignment with Microsoft, right? That's whose stage it was on.
It debuted on first party. Yeah.
So it's likely to show up on Microsoft's venue of some sort again.
Yeah, but like to Cam's point, what he said, I totally believe, Aaron. Like you're not in the business of disappointing your fans. So especially these days, right? Like we all saw what happened with the next gen gameplay showcase, and even Ubisoft's one before that, right? With Assassin's Creed Valhalla in May. So, Xbox has a tradition of doing sort of like quarterly inside Xboxes, or they used to be monthly. I'm not sure if they are anymore. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see something prior to E3. The May window is sort of that sweet spot that we've seen them work with before. But I don't let me figure out how to phrase this. I wouldn't put my expectations on getting any sort of E3 caliber reveal at those events. Those are going to be saved for the main stage, whatever E3 looks like this year.
Well, no pressure on Bandai at this point and From Software, because like, whatever their next trailer is, it better be really good. They've got so much anticipation built up. I feel bad. It's a heck of a challenge that they've got before them now. I mean, it's a good. I guess it's a good problem to have, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless it turns, right? You always want to sort of maintain containment on something like that. So,
and there actually is like a snippet of a supposed Elden Ring trailer that is moseying around the internet. I saw it's like 7 seconds long. Doesn't really show much, but so it seems like that they got something coming soon.
Well, I'll finish this by just noting, which I don't mean to give poor Aaron Greenberg a headache here, but he did take to Twitter before the Game Awards to try and just like quash everyone's hype. And then they unveiled Perfect Dark at the Game Awards. So, you know, maybe a little 4D chess back in action from Aaron. But yes, you're right. Maybe. We should probably take him at his word until he starts, you know, becoming the guy who consistently quashes things ahead of time, and then they deliver something big. So I
was thinking about that though. Like, what's the advantage of that? What's the advantage of like somebody guesses your big reveal rather than just not say anything, which is generally how things go? You actively deny it and then reveal it later.
Sorry,
is that advantageous?
I don't know. Yeah. That's why Aaron's paid the big bucks to be the marketing boss at Xbox.
The marketing big brain over there. Yeah.
I mean, it gets people hyped, you know, like it's like, oh, it's not coming. And then something comes and you're just like, oh my God, it's real. So.
Yeah, but at the same point, you're eroding the lines of communication with your community at that point, I think, right? Like if you don't say anything, they go in with high expectations. They see the thing that they want. If you say, no, it's not going to happen, they're squashed and they go into it and are surprised. Is the surprise worth the trauma that you're doing to that relationship? I don't know.
I think there's a line there.
We got to get Aaron in here to sort of talk us through the psychology of marketing, because it's for real. It is fascinating, right? Like these are real things that people like Aaron and his team have to grapple with all the time. All right,
people are paid to like figure out how other people think. Like that's a job. That's an awesome job.
Very true. Let's get to the meat of this week's episode, and that is the BioWare universe right now, because it is definitely changing. There's a lot going on, even though we probably won't be seeing any releases from any new releases. We of course have Mass Effect Legendary Edition coming up in the not too distant future, but any new games are far away. But at the same point, no shortage of BioWare news to talk about. I want to start with this one, and Miranda was clapping her hands. I'm not sure if it was for Mass Effect or for Dragon Age or both, but we'll start here. Henry Cavill, aka Geralt, aka Superman, teased that he might be working on some kind of Mass Effect project, something in the Mass Effect universe. So as you're seeing, if you're watching on video, you're seeing it here. He shared a photo of himself on Instagram with the words "secret project" or just a handful of paper with random words on it. Guess you'll have to wait and see. Now, included, the paper had the words blurred out so that you could read it. However, the website Game Pressure there's a program called Focus Magic to remove the blur, and the clearer image reveals words like Cerberus, Talizora, and Geth. IGN, and we did it ourselves to see, make sure that Game Pressure wasn't just pulling everybody's leg, and they were not. And sure enough, they're all there, as you can see on the screen right now if you're watching on video. So what do you guys think this is? Let me go Miranda's way first. What is this? What would he be doing in the Mass Effect universe, do you think?
Garrus, please. I hope he's another character.
That would be so good.
Please be Garrus. Oh my gosh, he'd be such a good Garrus. I think a lot of people think he could be Shepard if they're doing some sort of live action thing. Honestly, what if they were just doing a live action trailer? That could happen. But given how much context there is just on that piece of paper, you don't need all that for live action trailer, right? Like you don't need to know about the complexities with the Geth and with Tali and everybody. Like that's just not even needed. Or even Cerberus. Like I would even mention them. Sorry, my cat is just having a day. Oh my gosh.
It wouldn't be an Unlocked without something from your cat.
I gotta save my cat.
Oh no. She's gone. We lost her. The cat is taking over. The cat is in control of the situation.
I'm so sorry. She was climbing on something I had set up, and I was like, no, what are you doing? I'm so sorry.
Cam. So, all right. So Miranda thinks maybe some sort of live action thing that Cavill would actually appear in. Cam, what are your thoughts on what this Henry Cavill Mass Effect deal might be?
I have no idea, but I love Henry Cavill. He seems like such a genuinely nice person. He's a Kansas City Chiefs fan, just like me, which is awesome. Hey now. And I really don't know, because we're seeing all these familiar things. So yeah, it could be something live action. It could be, I don't know. I don't know what it could be, but like, regardless, I'm excited. I want Henry Cavill to do something in Mass Effect, because I love Mass Effect. I think that, like, again, we know that he's a gamer, you know, like he loves video games, and so
he builds PCs.
Oh,
yeah, he builds PCs. So I think that he will legit, like, I feel like he definitely is dedicated to the roles that he does, like, you know, for Geralt and in The Witcher, and like whatever he gets in Mass Effect, I think he would do a phenomenal job. And I'm just excited. I can't wait.
So, all right. So Miranda thinking live action something. Cam just bursting with excitement. Miranda, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I could see them doing just like a one-off short story or something that's just like very promotional and celebration of Mass Effect. I could see that if that's where it was a live action thing, that they just wanted to do like a special moment for. But I kind of hope it's more. It would be neat, but we haven't heard any rumblings of anything else before, so that would be interesting if this is the way they go about revealing that they're doing a whole live action Mass Effect project.
Brandon, what do you think here?
I'm the odd man out. I'm not big into Mass Effect, so I don't.
What about Henry Cavill though?
I don't know what. Not big into Henry Cavill.
Man,
what?
For 2.
No. I really enjoy Henry Cavill as his portrayal of Geralt. Superman is fine. I've never been a big DC fan. More the other side of the aisle on that one, but I think he's really, really good, and I think. In these roles, because he's obviously passionate about it. The dude is a gamer. He just happens to look like a Greek god as well and make movies. So Miranda knows what's up. Yeah.
Spiritual high five right there. Yeah.
So I think this actually makes a lot of sense. Like, he's got clout with the audience that a Mass Effect movie would target. You know, he has done Geralt. He's fully embraced his love of like PC gaming and like nerddom, right? Painting Warhammer figures. So using that clout as a way to sort of tease, like deep tease some sort of project around Mass Effect is, I think, very, very smart. As to what it is, like, I didn't really understand a whole lot on that page. I know Geth are cyber zombies, something like that.
Mostly.
Okay. Right. Let's save
we won't
the
get into it.
Let's save the nitpicking until I read the Wikipedia.
We don't need to get into the whole Quarian Geth complexities. We'll just.
So wait, is Garrus the lizard man?
He's not a lizard.
He's not.
He looks
he's
like
a
a
sniper.
lizard.
He's an awesome sniper.
Okay, but he's got like the lizard-esque
He's like
features.
your best friend. Okay,
I'm not
also
asking about his relationship with you. I'm like, physiologically speaking, is he human or is he
No,
different?
he's not human.
No.
Okay. I bring that up because I think you're insane if you think they're going to cover up Henry Cavill's beautiful face with prosthetics.
No, please. It'd be so much better. Whoever has to play Garrus has to be hot. You don't understand. We don't need to get into this.
The species, his species is Turian. He's a Turian.
Yes.
What is that? Doesn't mean anything.
There's a bunch of different alien races that are in Mass Effect. Like,
let's keep the surface level camp. They won't ever understand.
Yeah.
Maybe someday.
After this, we'll talk about Kingdom Hearts. But
oh, okay. We should get into that too.
I mean, Miranda could.
Live action makes sense with Cavill as Shepard, right? Like, that guy can buzz his head, no problem.
No.
But I also
that'd be even worse.
I also think something interesting though is we're seeing a lot of like animated revivals with Castlevania, Dragon's Dogma, Dota. What was the other one? Something of the gods, Blood of the Gods, about the Greek pantheon. I don't know. It just hit Netflix as well. Okay. So we could potentially be seeing perhaps, an animated Mass Effect show hit Netflix,
there
right?
There has been animated Netflix or animated Mass Effect projects before, though.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be new. Yeah,
that's
there he is.
Yeah.
Good boy,
There's
Garrus.
no...
Oh, yeah.
I almost dropped an F-bomb. There's no way that Henry Cavill gets into 4 hours of prosthetics every morning to play that.
Why not?
Because
he's too good looking.
Batista did it in Guardians, and Gamora did it in Guardians.
Still tell it's David Batista. Dave Batista.
They could still make him look like Henry Cavill in a way.
Yeah, and also it's like it's the voice too. Like Garrett, it's the voice. It's the voice
and the charm and the muscles.
Yeah, it's all
the voice and the muscles and the charm. Maybe like if he's voicing a CG version, but I feel like throwing a prominent CG character in a live action show is a mistake.
So, but I feel like you guys might be skipping over the most obvious and like lowest hanging fruit here, and that is. He might just be narrating the trailer for the official game, like the proper game announcement, like the Mass Effect 4 or whatever it's actually going to be called. The trailer. I mean, you know, they had, and Martin Sheen was, of course, the main antagonist throughout the 2 and 3. So he might just be narrating a trailer, or he might be. I think Miranda might have mentioned this one. Maybe he's Shepard. Or the new hero that's probably not Shepard, but the new hero in the game in Mass Effect 4.
That'd be huge.
Cool.
You guys, I love that you guys are going nuts with like Netflix show and movie and live action thing, but I would imagine this is just something for the game.
Crap,
that makes more sense,
what if he's? Sorry, go ahead, Cam.
I was saying, I feel like, and I was going to talk about this too. I meant to mention this, like when it comes to if there's live action things, like I feel like that if they're for the game specifically, if he were to be voicing the new character, the Shepard role, they would need someone I think equally as like famous for the female Shep, because I feel like just through my circles, and I'm a male Shep player, but like everyone like that I talk to is like, oh, I'm Fem Shep. I feel like Fem Shep is like. The big like is more popular, and that might just be through my own social circles. That like even if there was a movie, I feel like that they would go with Fem Shep as like the main character, not male Shep, if it was live action. And then when it comes to the game, I feel like if there's gonna be if Henry Cavill's gonna be like the male character, we need someone equally as big for the female character, because I know a lot of people going into Mass Effect 4, if that is going to be an option, which I'm assuming there will be.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are going to be playing the female version.
All right, Cameron. So you cast FemShep, somebody equally as big, equally as everyman as Henry Cavill. I mean, I use the term everyman very loosely there, but who's FemShep?
You're just gonna put me on the spot like that? Oh man. I can't I can't think of people now. Let me get back. We're talking about a bunch of BioWare. Let me think. Let me think what we're talking.
All right, we'll come back.
Scarlett Johansson.
So that was my first thought, but I think that's the Black Widow Association.
See, my immediate first thought was just based off of like kind of performance, and I don't know. I just see her voice matching that kind of role, but I know like I feel like a lot of people just like don't really like her. Or just over time has started to like give her crap for some reason. I don't know why, but like I'm thinking Jennifer Lawrence. I was getting like
A-list. That's A-list right there.
Vibe there.
Oscar winner.
Yeah, exactly.
Could they afford that? Could they afford both like two A-list?
EA wants to.
EA could.
Yeah.
For a full Mass Effect game with as many voice lines as there are.
You never know.
I honestly
EA could.
I would see
That's a good point.
If Henry Cavill were doing some sort of role in the next Mass Effect, I think it'd be more of like a crewmate or just like an NPC. Like I think he would just be doing something on the side that was really cool and probably hopefully romanceable.
He's just the super hot mechanics. Like, hey, go ask Henry what's up with the engine.
Super hot
Henry's
mechanic.
Just a tank
shirtless
top and
all
like
the time.
Listen,
it'll be ready when it's
knows what
it'll be ready
want.
when it's ready.
BioWare knows. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's true. That's true.
So, I could see that being the case instead of that, and I think as far as if this were like a live action Mass Effect, it is kind of a toss up. It's like, oh, would they do male Shepard or female Shepard? Because I think that is just definitely a very personal thing. Like for me, obviously, I played female Shepard, and that is my Shepard. But I had a custom character, so I don't associate with like the default characters that they have. It's just like, oh, that is a version of Shepard, not my Shepard. That's your Shepard, or like the publicized one. So I think that would be a little bit tricky to do. But they do it enough already.
Regardless of whatever the role is, whatever his participation is, what I'm curious of is he going to just be using his own voice because he's British, or is he going to put on the American accent a la Superman? So I'll be kind of curious to see which Henry we get for whatever this role is. But yeah, let the speculation continue.
Like, I don't think it matters. If you watch Star Wars, like the British accent is very all over the place.
Just comes and goes. Yeah.
I would love to see him be like, "Oi, that's the Reapers, isn't it?" You know, like just something like super cockneyed. Oh,
can you say that again?
Fantastic.
One more time.
All right.
No.
More BioWare news. Let's keep this going. So, Brandon Tyrell, I think did you review? No, you didn't. James Duggan, I think, reviewed Anthem. Did you play it?
Yeah, I played the hell out of it.
Yeah. So Anthem is going to be dead. It is not going to be a thing that is continued. Anthem Next is the sort of revival and ground up renovation of Anthem is not going to continue. EA had basically a meeting with BioWare recently, which Bloomberg, Jason Schreier had reported on, and then word came out after that indeed EA and BioWare will instead be utilizing the resources that were being put to use there and instead apply those to Mass Effect 4 and Dragon Age 4. So, Brandon, I mean, is this... It's certainly understandable from a business perspective, right. But I'd love for you to speak to your experience playing it and something that I heard from a lot of people, a lot of IGN fans responding to me when I was tweeting about this, and I think they have a very valid point. Is is it really right of them to just cut bait on this when they promised a live service, continually updated game and that people paid $60 for?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's a fair question. I don't know. It has the answer that fans want. I think deciding to stop development of something that you've already paid for is like not an easy decision, right? And there's going to be fan backlash, of course. Right. But is that going to be greater than what they've been experiencing for the last 2 years? Like,
right.
Anthem is not in a good place. Anthem has never really been in a good place, despite the fact that I genuinely think it was one of my favorite games the year that it was released, simply on the back of just how good it felt to play. And then, I put probably 40, 50 hours into it, right? Mm-hmm. Running different, I don't even remember the name of the suits, like what they were called, javelins.
Yeah.
Running different ones, getting everything, leveled up as best you could. But I ran into the same problem everyone else did, which is I've done these dungeons, these same 3 or 4 dungeons ad nauseum, right? And I can't do them anymore. And there's nothing else in the world to do outside of fly around and shoot down Titans. But that game, it doesn't change the fact that like the core mechanics of that game are incredible. Like They are legitimately some of the best movement, and movement's a big thing for me. I think, Insomniac, obviously I've talked at length about Sunset Overdrive, Spider-Man. Like when you nail movement, it opens up so many possibilities for your game. So while I'm disappointed to see that Anthem isn't going to be able to turn the ship, or rather EA isn't going to allow them to continue to noodle with Anthem and turn the ship around, because I legitimately think that there's a game there somewhere, like a good game that can survive. I don't think there's a game in there that can compete with Destiny, right? Like that ship has sailed. But what I'm really excited for is the tech that BioWare has now, and the design know-how and the years they've spent like living inside this game. Can you imagine Mass Effect with some sort of Anthem movement, or like Dragon Age with some sort of...
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought up tech, because I do want to talk about that in relation to the other things. So this project of Anthem Next was being undertaken by BioWare Austin, who's the studio that had developed and continued to maintain Star Wars: The Old Republic. So they'll now continue to update The Old Republic, and then they'll be there to help with Dragon Age and Mass Effect as well. Anthem was done with Frostbite, which is a game engine that's come under a lot of scrutiny, if not sometimes from developers, anonymous developers themselves, and other times from gamers who, we've seen it in action in Mass Effect Andromeda, where it did not showcase very well, and in other things where it's, outside of what DICE themselves has used it for with Battlefield, it has been a technology that is, it's undergone some scrutiny. So with them moving on to Mass Effect and Dragon Age, and EA seemingly loosening the reins on letting studios have a little more freedom, am I crazy in thinking that there's no way that Mass Effect 4 or Dragon Age are going to use Frostbite?
Oh God, idea. Let's hope not. I mean, because what you said, Frostbite is an in-house engine meant for first-person shooters.
Yep.
That's what that engine is for. And so with Anthem, I agree with a lot of what Brendan said. I really enjoyed Anthem from what I played, but there just wasn't a whole lot there. But I really enjoyed the flying. The flying was fantastic. And I think that, I think with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, when they announced that was being made on Unreal, I was like, why was this on Unreal? But all these other games you're making, you made them do Frostbite. But I feel like moving forward, I don't know if they announced the engine that Dragon Age 4 is going to be made
I don't believe
yet.
So. No, yeah, we're still waiting.
Well, hopefully that's Unreal 4. Or
Unreal 5, really.
Or Unreal 5, yeah, Unreal 5. At the very least, Mass Effect, this new Mass Effect, let's hope that's Unreal 5. That would be really ideal. I don't know. I just think that I really hope that that's what they're doing moving forward, because Frostbite is just, for Battlefield, great. Everything else they make, don't do it.
Well,
as of April of last year, April 2019, Dragon Age 4 was confirmed to be in development on Frostbite.
Oh, interesting. So it is possible that's changed, but maybe not. Because certainly the tech and engine work has to come pretty early in the project. So that'll be interesting. And yeah, Cam, I'm glad you mentioned Mass Effect and Unreal, because the original Mass Effect trilogy was built on Unreal. And that's not to say that Mass Effect 4 would be, just because technologically it's not going to share anything with Unreal 2.5. And when I took the demo not too long ago of Legendary Edition, the remaster, Mac Walters, the project lead, from BioWare, specifically said, we looked at moving everything over to Unreal 4 for this remaster, but in short, it would have been a ton of, they would have practically been building the 3 games again. So, they're not gonna be able to just pick up from Unreal Engine 3's code base and go. Mass Effect Andromeda was on Frostbite, and that's a previous generation anyway. So it's I think it's probably it'll be interesting to see whether it's going to be Frostbite for Mass Effect 4 or if it could be Unreal. And I'm not sure if whenever they do confirm what engine it is, if it's Unreal 5, which it would be by that point in time, because Unreal 5's due to go out to developers this year, I would imagine you'd have a lot of people celebrating, not necessarily that it's Unreal 5, but that it's not Frostbite, which so it is. But
I think it's also worth, it's interesting to mention that, because I'm not a Dragon Age person, because spiders, but Dragon Age Inquisition was made on Frostbite, and that was Game of the Year for a lot of people. So maybe with Dragon Age, it's a different story. They're able to make it work. But with Mass Effect, I really, I think we've seen with Mass Effect Andromeda alone. I mean, granted, that game was not ready to ship when it shipped regardless, but I think even with that in mind, there's enough evidence to say, hey, Mass Effect shouldn't be made on Frostbite. Let's make it on Unreal. It'd be so much better.
Yeah, I'm with you. Now, on this same subject, just a day after the official cancellation of Anthem Next, Bloomberg reported that Dragon Age 4 will not have multiplayer or be a live service game, and instead be a single-player RPG, as it has traditionally always been. According to Bloomberg's report, EA gave BioWare the go-ahead and remove all the planned multiplayer and game-as-a-service components from art. So they were building it, and they ripped it all out. To me, it's hilarious that they were even considering trying to turn that into a live service game. I mean, I get it from a business perspective, but Boy, I'm very glad that EA seemed to see the light on that one. Miranda, I mean, is nobody's looking for a Dragon Age live service game, are they?
I don't think so, but I'm curious to see what that would have looked like. Like, what were their plans for that? So my worry is coming back out from Anthem. So I also really enjoyed what that game had to offer gameplay wise, as far as like how it felt to play, and I think that was really promising, and I'm super bummed that we don't get to see what that game was going to be. But the problem with Anthem was they didn't know how to marry their campaign with multiplayer. Like, they could not figure out, like, they made 2 separate games and they said this is the same experience, and it just really wasn't. And I think that's why so much of the multiplayer stuff felt so barren, because hey, go play these campaign things that are really great, but you have to do it on your own. And we're going to rip you out of these cutscenes. And even if you're in like voice chat with your friends, not going to work. So I'm kind of curious to see what they had in mind for Dragon Age 4, if they took kind of their learnings from Anthem to make that better, because they very clearly did not know how to put those together in like the same space. And I think you look at Bungie, what they're doing with Destiny, they do it really well. But I would be interested to see if they did a Dragon Age 4 RPG with like a multiplayer side component. Like, I think if you look at, say, GTA or even Red Dead, like, those are 2 different spaces, right?
Sure.
Like, you still have that massive open world to go explore, do your single-player adventure, and then you can go hop in and have a good time in their online offerings. And I think that's not necessarily a bad thing to try and do. I think maybe, given what we've seen, how BioWare has released its games in almost like sort of a rush fashion, it feels like EA isn't necessarily giving them time, or whoever it may be is in charge of this is not giving them the developers the right time to finish their games or like fully flesh them out. I don't want to say finish, but I think there are things that you could see where there were pivots in direction in their games based on how like mechanics change or presentation of missions change. But given all that and knowing how much time it takes to develop 2 different modes, that's so much work. And maybe it is better for them to just say, hey, we want to just focus on, the bread and butter of Dragon Age, which is doing that campaign. And that makes a lot of sense. Although I will say, I'm certainly curious as to what they would have planned for a multiplayer for that, because I do like having new experiences within the games that I love. I mean, we talk about it constantly, right? It's like, well, what could Halo be as a horror game? Like, that could be really fun. And I think multiplayer is just another kind of version of that, but getting it right is tough, especially I think once you bring in games as a service, because then there's the fear of like, okay, well, you're trying to get more money, you're trying to get that longevity. What does that look like, and how do you do it well? And so far, BioWare has not shown us that they can do that, but given that they've only had 1 attempt and we don't get to see their second try at it, it's a bit of a shame. But if this was coming from the dev team saying, please kill the multiplayer live service part, then, that's probably for the best.
Well, you mentioned, multiplayer. Mass Effect 3 has a very well-liked multiplayer mode, but it's completely separate. And it technically ties in, but not like you don't ever have to touch it to. Right. It doesn't take anything away really from the single player experience. But I wonder if that's the kind of thing that maybe we might see in Mass Effect 4. I really hope Mass Effect 4 will also be a single player RPG. Brandon, you're a big Dragon Age guy. What is your reaction to this?
I think it's positive. For the record, Dragon Age Inquisition did have a multiplayer suite. It was sort of like you would consider an MMO dungeon almost. You start a level with a group and then you run through it. And you get
I kind of forgot about that.
Wait, I didn't even remember that either.
I think it was fun. I actually played it quite a bit with a few of my buddies. And it was good for what it is. It wasn't trying to like be a main mode, I don't think. Obviously, the game, the single player story is why you buy a Dragon Age. So I think Miranda's hit the nail on the head that BioWare hasn't shown us that they can marry their single player campaigns, which is, I don't think there's anyone that can argue with that is what we know BioWare for.
Yeah.
With whatever this live games service approach is going to be. So we haven't seen them pull it off successfully, so I'm inclined to think that this is a good news situation. However, I will say that I'm intrigued. I'm interested to see what that would look like because, if you follow the Anthem script, then obviously, the new Dragon Age is being built on the existing Anthem, and Anthem had clear plans set out for a game as service, which is you go through the campaign, you do all your missions, and then you do all your dungeons and your end game content, and then new content drops. But where Anthem failed, I guess we didn't really get to the new content, but where Anthem failed is you didn't have enough to keep players invested until the new content arrived, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember, Destiny had this issue too when it first dropped. Like the game ended, you got a rifle, and they were like, okay, let's go save the universe or whatever they said at the end of that. And that was it. Like you had a couple of dungeons and a raid to do until then. So it's bridging that gap between your regular cadence of content drops and keeping players invested after the initial story and content is finished. Like Miranda said, we haven't seen BioWare pull that off successfully yet. So I'm glad that special emphasis will be paid to Dragon Age single player. I wouldn't mind a multiplayer mode, and I don't think that removing Dragon Age as a games as a service model means that we're not going to get a multiplayer mode, because I genuinely enjoyed it from Inquisition. But at the end of the day, we come to we come to BioWare for amazing stories set in these universes that we've all come to fall in love with. And if you can treat Dragon Age 4 with the sort of care and quality that I think we've come to expect from some of BioWare's best stories, I don't think you need as a games as service. I don't think you need it to be a games as service to serve the audience. That's really just serving, whatever your bottom line is. That's my opinion.
All right. Good stuff. A lot of BioWare news, but let's stay on the EA topic for one more round here. EA has, if you'll pardon the phrase, shifted Criterion Games off of its current Need for Speed project in order to help the aforementioned DICE with development on the next Battlefield game. The new Battlefield, which has yet to have its title officially revealed, is expected this fall for PS5 and Series X, and it seems like DICE need a little extra help getting it rolling, according to a new report from Polygon. EA insists that Criterion will return to development of its Need for Speed game next year. EA Studios boss Laura Miele said that rather than pushing to get the next Need for Speed out this year, at a time when it could be cannibalized a bit by a Codemasters release, of course they just acquired Codemasters, Criterion's efforts are better suited for working on the next Battlefield at the moment. So, I can't blame them on this one. I'm sure the knee-jerk reaction is, EA is just to react negatively, but if you were in that position, you'd probably want to put all hands on deck for not only your next Battlefield, but your first next-gen Battlefield. Cam, are you a Battlefield guy? What do you make of, or does the idea of a next-gen Battlefield excite you?
Yeah, I've played some Battlefield. I'm definitely more in the Call of Duty camp, if that makes any sense. But I've enjoyed what I've played of them. I'm not completely blown away. I know that they try and go for a more, I feel like they go for a more grounded, realistic type experience, which is great for those that are about that. And this is definitely should be their top priority going into this year. Like, it's one of their best-selling titles, and but I'm also curious about Need for Speed, because they're pushing it back because of Codemasters, but then next year there's Gran Turismo 7. Because that just got delayed into next year. Who knows if the next Forza comes out this year or next year?
Good point.
So I think no matter what they do, they're kind of in a tough spot for Need for Speed. Granted, I'm not super familiar with how well Need for Speed normally sells, but I think that. Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's been big for years.
Oh, okay. I felt like it kind of teetered off, and then. For in the past few entries, but that's good to know. So that's good for them. But yeah, I'm interested in seeing what the next Battlefield game will be, because they kind of went back to the previous wars. World War I was the last game, right? In Battlefield 1,
yeah,
Yeah.
Battlefield 1, right, was the last one.
Yeah, I like those.
5 came. Thank you, producer John Borba. Yes, 5 was more recent. I cannot keep these straight. They can't. Okay. They need to number them better.
415. Which,
Oh my goodness, 415.
Yeah.
Welcome to San Francisco. It's our area.
It's an area code. Yeah.
Yeah, I like games that focus on specific wars and stuff like that more. So hopefully they do something like that again. But we'll see. I definitely think that they're making the right call in the long run, because Battlefield is more or less like their biggest franchise. So
yeah, good point. It really is. I mean, outside of the just annual cash cows that are FIFA and Madden, yeah, it's their sort of biggest core gaming franchise. Miranda, you are a big time Call of Duty player. Where are you with Battlefield, and are you getting excited for the first next gen Battlefield?
I'm really curious because it has been so long since we've had a Battlefield, so I just want to see what they have. My dad's actually a Battlefield person, so it's always at odds. I'm like, come play Call of Duty. He's like, come play Battlefield. And we're like, so we just don't play together. But I am, excited to see what they have done with the time that they've had without having to do too many releases. So that's mostly what I'm curious about. Sorry for the Need for Speeds fans out there that maybe we're looking forward to whatever was next.
Yeah. Yeah, true. But yeah, I can't fault EA's logic on this one. You got plenty of other racing games now that you own Codemasters. So
right.
I was just gonna say, it's sort of a situation of their own making.
Right.
You know?
Put all the eggs into the Battlefield basket, and we'll see how that goes. But and next gen Battlefield, I mean, that we talked about Frostbite being a Battlefield that's a dice, it's built for this. So let's see what the next version of Frostbite can do on a technical level. All right, we've got a little bit more time in this episode. I want to move now to the loot box, and if there's time, there's a bonus loot box, but we'll see about that. Let me start here. Steve in Cleveland, who has yapped in before. We want to hear from Steve again, and this is quite the topic. So I will turn it over to Steve.
What's up, friends? This is Steve from Cleveland, and I have a bit of a speculation question to throw your way. You guys have probably heard the rumor that Microsoft has another Bethesda-level acquisition set up in 2021, and I think the only privately owned company that fits that description is Valve. I think that move would make a ton of sense for Microsoft because they've already got a solid position in the console market, they're in position to be number one in the cloud gaming market, and this would immediately catapult them to being number one in the PC market, even if it costs $10 billion. So to you guys, on a scale of, Steve, you're crazy, get off of our show, to this could actually happen, why don't you already work for us? What are the odds you think that Microsoft is thinking about this, and what would that mean for gamers?
Well, Steve shooting straight for the moon, Portal 2 style on that one. I want to go Miranda's way first. What do you make of Steve's thinking on that?
Steve, you gave us this option, so I can just tell you you're crazy. I don't see a world where Valve ever is acquired by anybody willingly, like because they want to be acquired. I know they seem to really value their freedom. Having a few people that I know who work at Valve, their structure is just so strange, and there's such an emphasis on them in developing their own tech and like kind of being freeform with that and making games. Yes, they do make games based off that tech that they have developed. I don't really see them ever wanting to be under an umbrella of anybody. I think they are willing to play ball with other companies, but not to ever be acquired. It'd be quite weird if that ever happened.
Yeah, Steve, I have to agree with Miranda. I'm going to go with, to use your exact words, Steve. Steve, you're crazy. Get off our show. But no, not really. Please feel free to yap back in again. We appreciate the call. But yeah, I don't see, kind of building off of what Miranda said, I just don't see why Gabe Newell would ever sell. He's already a mega billionaire. He's already worked for Microsoft. That's how he made his money initially. He was on, what was his, I think the Windows team. I think he was one of the really early, because it was, Excel was Ed Freeze. That was, he made his name off of Excel. And I believe Gabe Newell was on the Windows team, and he, of course, retired from Microsoft, founded Valve with that money, and built Half-Life, and the rest is history. So now I spoke to Gabe, in fact, 1 year ago, just a tad over a year ago, right before quarantine started, right before the pandemic. I was up at Valve for an IGN first month of coverage on Half-Life Alyx, and I got to sit down with Gabe for half an hour, and he is all about brain interface stuff. Like that's his passion right now is researching that and what sort of that could do for gaming and other purposes. And Gabe's got all the money now and freedom now, as Miranda said, that he needs to do that. So I just don't know what benefit he would have from selling to Microsoft for more billions of dollars. So, however, Steve, I'll give you this. If it did happen, it would be possibly the biggest megaton in the history of the games industry, of Microsoft wholly acquiring Steam and Valve. That would be crazy. Cam?
Yeah, no, there's no way this is happening. There's no way this is happening. That'd be insane. Like they have no reason to sell to Microsoft, or like they have, in exactly what you guys said earlier. Like they have like these, they want their freedom. They want to be able to do whatever they want, because like they can like release a game every once in a while, like, you know, way less than most developers, and still just make bank because of Steam and everything else that they, and like now the Valve Index. It
Dota
just
hats. Sorry.
It is, yeah, Dota. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. I definitely think that I don't like particularly have a developer, at least a Western developer, in mind as to like, oh, this is like kind of be like a Bethesda level acquisition. But I definitely think that Valve is not one of those that are in consideration.
Well, Brandon, we've already politely beat up on poor Steve enough. So yeah, what do you have a thinking of, you know, if these rumors of another big acquisition are to come to fruition for Microsoft, who might it be? Who makes sense?
Nobody. Is there Gabe doing what you all right. There is no reason for Valve to ever be owned by anybody that isn't Gabe Newell, and you know, until that leadership team decides that they're going to call it quits. Like, I could see a world where Gabe retires, doesn't want to do what he's doing now, turns the company over, and then they decide it's in the interest of the board or the ownership stake to sell to another company. But like, I don't ever see that happening. Steam is a distribution platform. It prints money, essentially, to Miranda's point, Dota hats. And what Valve really is an R&D house. They create things that they want to see created. Like it's like they're like Elon Musk with restraint, you know, like they can create whatever they want here on planet Earth. And they've got all the money to do it. Why would you mess with that? That's what they want to do. And that's where they're doing it. So it's never going to happen until there's a leadership change at Valve. And, I don't even really think anyone could afford them anyway. I'm sure Microsoft could spend the money to acquire them. Yeah. And you'd be getting a Steam as a distribution platform for a first party would be an absolute game changer. But you would also see a huge backlash from the PC community as well. So that's not a great idea in my head. So I don't think this is ever going to happen. But I don't want to end on a negative note. So Steve, I love your home decor. It's very clean looking. Your living room is spotless. I think it looks really, really great.
Well, Steve, I'll bring up if Microsoft does have another acquisition up its sleeve, the one we talked about on this podcast that I think would make sense, at least on some level. Again, I'm not a business guy. I don't know the intricacies of you know, how that could work, but Capcom would be the one that would make the most sense to me. They've got a bunch of great IPs, great franchises. Microsoft has said they want to get more into Japanese, you know, doing more partnerships and collaboration with Japanese game developers. So that could be a one-size-fits-all solution for Microsoft, at least. I don't know if Capcom would feel the same way, but we shall see. And they've partnered together before on obviously a much smaller scale with Dead Rising in the past. Anyway. Yeah.
Sorry, Ryan, before we move on. Valve is wholly owned. It's a privately held company. It's wholly owned, I believe, by two people, Gabe Newell and Scott Lynch. Its total equity is $10 billion. $10 billion, and Gabe Newell owns 50% of that.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to ever sell unless you want to get out of the game.
You know, I'm no economist or business expert, so what I'm about to say may just be laughable to people that are, but in my head, it seems like if if Microsoft was willing, I'm gonna say something is worth whatever somebody wants to pay, but if Microsoft paid $7.5 billion for Bethesda and ZeniMax, I gotta think Valve would be worth way more than 10 than what because you said Steam alone is just, plus you'd own the Half-Life IP, the Dota IP, the Portal IP, like there are some really, the Team Fortress IP, you'd own some really impressive IPs in it, but those would be like the side dish to Steam. The side dish. Anyway.
The video game franchises themselves are not why you're buying the company. You're buying it for the hardware and the software, source and filmmaker, and that is such a stacked company because all they do is research and development. Like you could, like Miranda said, their structure's so weird. You can just decide what you want to work on this year.
Yep.
You know?
That's how Half-Life Alyx eventually came around. If you watch Jeff Keighley's final hours, it's really, really interesting. Thank you, Steve, for another excellent loot box entry. You really got the panel talking, which is the point of the segment. So I want to see and hear more Yappa questions, more loot box topics. To participate, again, you don't need a Yappa account if you don't want to make another account for another thing. You can log into Yappa with Discuss, LinkedIn, Facebook, or Google, and just go, if you just Google IGN Unlocked 484, you'll find this episode's page. Scroll down to the comments, and right above that, right there, you'll see how to leave a Yappa comment, and you can do exactly as Steve has done. So leave us a Yappa video question, and one of you will be featured on next week's show. And with that, yes, we are done. You can find me on Twitter at DMC_Ryan. Again, stay tuned starting on Thursday for our Aliens Fireteam IGN first, starting with a big, nice, fat chunk of uncut gameplay. So stay tuned for that. Miranda?
You can find me at Havoc Rose, and that's Havoc with a K. Also, BAM! Late show BAM! We haven't been doing the BAM for days.
We haven't been bamming.
Someone called us out on that on Twitter, and I apologize, and thank you for reminding us. I think I'm just gonna, maybe we just hide the BAM somewhere in the episode. It's a surprise. It's a fun surprise. But other than that, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. And tonight I'll be finishing Psychonauts. So very excited about that.
Fantastic. Cam?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at CamFinalMix, and I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/CamFinalMix. And to my Witcher fans, I apologize for pronouncing Geralt wrong. So yeah, because I didn't realize that until Brendan pronounced it. I was like, oh crap!
I didn't want to say anything, dude. Like, I didn't
no. Like,
I felt actual pain in my heart when I heard you.
I'm not a Witcher. I haven't played The Witcher yet. So please, like, Unlocked fans will be like, this guy's on Unlocked. He doesn't know what he's talking
it's too late. They already left. As soon as you said it, they started typing on YouTube. That's yeah,
I know. Yeah, so I hope the YouTube comments are less hostile towards me. But yeah, sorry about that. Haven't played Witcher
so you
yet.
Caught it in time. So there we got the time code. Just you caught it. You're good.
Honestly, I feel.
I'm gonna get Mass Effect death threats.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what you did with Mass Effect is way worse than what I did with The Witcher.
Is he the lizard man? Oh my god. IGN. Anyway. Yeah, my
do you not want to give out your Twitter handle now?
Yeah, no, now I'm thinking like
it's like some people like Skyrim, some people like Fallout, some people like Dragon Age, some people like Mass Effect.
Exactly. What's funny, and for me, I'm the opposite with those two. With Bethesda, I like the fantasy game and not the sci-fi game. And not that I don't like it, but I like Skyrim. I like Elder Scrolls way more. And I'm the opposite with Dragon Age and Mass Effect. I way love Mass Effect and not so much on the Dragon Age. Go figure.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
All right. Let's get out of here. We're done.
You can find me on Twitter at Destin Legary. Make sure to drop all your comments about my opinions on Mass Effect. So
because we know that Destin knows nothing about Mass Effect. He is clueless on that franchise. He's never even played it, I think. All right, the trophy speaks for Brandon. Brandon Tyrell, our Unlocked Block 2020 trivia winner. Along with Cam Hawkins and Miranda Sanchez, I'm Ryan McCaffrey. This was the palindromatic Unlocked 484. We'll see you guys next week.